Good afternoon, everyone. Four great speeches for you this afternoon. Everybody, please be able to take a seat. That'd be great. Oh, even better. A little fun with sirens. All right. So we have for today, before, of course, we get started, we will have our opening prayer that has been chosen by our speakers. So we'll be saying the prayer, "Be joyful in hope." The words are on the screen behind me. So let's all say these words together, please. Be joyful in hope, persevere in hardship, keep praying, share with anyone in need, look for the chance to be hospitable, bless your persecutors, never curse them, bless them, rejoice with others when they rejoice. Be sad with those in sorrow. Pay no regard to social status, but make real friends with the poor. Do not congratulate yourself on your own wisdom. Never repay evil for evil. As much as possible, and to the utmost of your ability, be at peace with everyone. I'm going to hear your introducers, Gavin, and we will go.
Gavin, you've been a very important person in my life, not only treating me like a brother, but also like a friend, sort of. From the competitive games of one-on-one to the race for the best score on any given mobile game, you've always pushed me and made my gloomy days bright. Your high energy and aggressive competitiveness has always brought light to our family and our home, especially the screams while playing video games. I realize I won't be spending as much time with you soon, and I couldn't thank you enough for what you have done for me. I can't imagine how boring my life would be without you, and I can't wait to see what you will do in the future. I love you, and good luck at Madison.
I don't really remember life before Gavin, which isn't saying much because I have a terrible memory and I'm always confused. But Gavin makes up for it with this Steve rap. He knows the majority of the play NFL, especially the Packers. And if you name any episode from The Office, he can tell you what season it's in. Speaking of The Office, Gavin is literally Michael Scott. He's not only as energetic, funny, and likable as Michael Scott is, but he has the same flow and swag. However, Michael Scott is unathletic, and that is where Gavin is built different. He's a 3-sport varsity captain. He shoots game winners at basketball, beats me in golf, and he runs for fun. He's the competitive brother I've always wanted, and that, with the joy you carry every day, has made living across the street from you the best part of high school for me. Introducing my best friend,
And my brother.
Gavin Michael Lupke.
I know that many of you are expecting, or perhaps hoping, to hear me speak about my mom, Miss Cher, and what it's been like to ever work here and be my teacher. If you have been in my mom's class before, you are most likely familiar with me, even if we have never actually met. Unfortunately, even though my mom is amazing, I feel like it could be a bit redundant to talk about a topic that most of you are already so familiar with. I only get this one chance to talk to the entire upper school about something you don't know about me, something I've learned over the years, or some advice that I have for younger students. So I want to take advantage of this. Nobody here, besides a select few, knows much about any of my other family members, specifically my extended family on my mom's side. So let me take a moment to introduce my cousins to you all. Cooper, a fun, energetic 6-year-old who's the life of the party at every family event. Ella, a 10-year-old who's one of the sweetest people I've ever met. Frankie, another 10-year-old who's extremely talented in so many different ways, including several different musical instruments. JJ, a 12-year-old who's an absolute beast at every sport he tries. Michael, the middle school spelling bee champ who is easily the smartest 12-year-old I've ever met. Liam, I could not fit an explanation for this kid into a singular speech, but I will say that he definitely makes the family more interesting. Sophie, a junior at the University of Wisconsin, who brings out the best in anyone she's around. And Sam, an alum from the University of St. John's, who is an Army man and someone that I will never beat at chess. I know there was a lot of names to take in, but these people are just so important to me that I felt like I had to mention them. I couldn't have picked 8 better people to call my family. From trips up to our cabin on 4th of July, to spending Christmas and every other Thanksgiving together, to the countless birthday parties, this group always knows how to have a good time and make me smile. For my whole life, the age-old question, friends versus family, has always been easy for me to answer. I value family over friends. For a long time, I thought this was solely because of how awesome my family was. But after some reflection, I realized that friendship hasn't always been the best thing in my life. Sure, when I was really young, making friends was easy. All I had to do was tell my mom that I wanted to hang out with someone, and boom, we were playing games together like Floor is Lava or Hide and Seek. However, as I've gotten older, friendship has become more complicated. I mean, I understand I'm not the easiest person to be friends with. I make a lot of dumb jokes, so I go way over the line, and I have weird spurts of energy for no apparent reason. And this has made it difficult for me to keep friends for long periods of time. All my life, friends have come and gone, and my family has been constant. This has always been true until I came to Breck. During my time here, I've rekindled some old friendship and made so many amazing new ones that I finally see how amazing friendship can be. What I've learned is that the love we receive from family is much different from the love that we receive from friends. With family, the love is unconditional. We are blood related, so we love each other no matter what. This doesn't mean that's the only reason that we love each other, but it is the biggest reason. The love from friends is more a feeling of acceptance. If people are choosing to hang out with me, that means they really like who I am. And for the first time in my life, I feel accepted by my group of friends. In the past, I've changed my personality to try to make friends, so I've never felt this feeling of acceptance before. But I've always felt that unconditional love from my family, so that's why it's always been more important to me. Now, I finally get to be my true self around my friends and be as weird as I want without any fear of pushing them away, and this has put family and friends on the same level in my life. As the below-average salesman Andy Bernard said, I wish there was a way to know that you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. I'm aware of where I'm at right now and the people that I'm with. I know that one day I will look back and wish I could be here for just a day to see everyone again. I know that I won't see my family and friends as much next year, so I'm trying to cherish every moment. I urge everyone to look around every once in a while and realize how lucky you are to be here with the people you call your friends, because these are the good old days. Thank you.
Hannah, it would be impossible to summarize a person like you in such a short time, but I'll do my best. You have always been my biggest role model and my biggest supporter on and off the soccer field. I am extremely proud to call you my sister, and I'm very proud for all that you have accomplished. I sometimes forget that you are my older sister, considering you still sleep in my bed during thunderstorms and hold my hand when the plane takes off and when it lands. Nevertheless, it's going to be hard not having my best friend by my side all the time, but I know you will do big things in the near future at West Point. Thank you for always being there for me, and know that I will always be there for you too. I love you.
I know everyone's probably wondering what I'm doing up here, but Hannah and I have been friends ever since she came to Breck in 5th grade. We've been through a lot of ups and downs together, like staying up late, attempting all nights over Uvu, and making her cry after Eli Einesman and I somehow made her believe that we had died. But little did she know the only reason I wanted to get so close with her is so middle school me could bag his first girlfriend. Hannah, even though you friend-zoned me in middle school, I wouldn't want it any other way because I got a 7-year friendship out of it that I know will last far beyond high school. Introducing my first heartbreak.
And my sister, Hannah Elizabeth Polital. In the unlikely event of a water evacuation, your seatback cushion can be used as a flotation device. Lights will illuminate the aisle to your nearest exit. Make sure to adjust your own mask before helping others. Your safety is our #1 priority. If you're like me, these words bring automatic trepidation. A lot of people are doing a lot of things while this safety stuff is read, but I can assure you that I'll always be attentive. Following the safety brief, I become uneasy and wonder how the flight attendants do this every day, seemingly unfazed by the risks of their chosen profession. When the pilots alert the flight attendants to prepare the cabin for takeoff, before the plane slowly taxis to the runway, turning the corner while the engines grow louder, I start to prepare myself for the X amount of hours that I will be trapped in a small capsule-like object thousands of feet above the ground, myself having absolutely no control. I stare out the window, then close my eyes and say a little prayer while the plane picks up its speed before launching off the ground and into the air. For as long as I can remember, I've been rather fearful of flying. You can't tell me you haven't arrived at your gate and looked around at the people sitting there and thought, wow, these are the people I could die with or end up on a deserted island with. Now, for the ride, I always take a window seat. When asked why I prefer the windowed seat, I'd say, well, 1, it's the best spot for a nap, which takes precedence. Everyone knows I like a good nap. And 2, I like to be able to see the ground at takeoff, at landing, and at all times so that I can tell we're moving at speeds and angles that make sense. Since I can't control the plane, I like to at least see what's happening. While trying to distract myself from the nerves while I fly, I've started to become very observant. The more I've been a passenger on flights, the more I've come to look at traveling by plane in an entirely different way. In retrospect, although my fear has not completely diminished, I'd say I've gone from being a nervous flyer to a cute flyer. I realized that flying is really like its own ecosystem between the airport and the plane itself. And there's much more that exists beyond my own apprehension when I stop to think about what could happen and start living more in the moment. One of the things I notice is that you truly see and experience all dimensions of humanity while traveling by plane. It really is fascinating. Flying brings out either the best in people or the worst in people. There will be people flying back from weddings or flying back from funerals, exciting vacations or challenging goodbyes. You see patience and extreme intolerance. You see generosity and you see ignorance. I've witnessed unlikely seat trades between lone travelers and members of a family so that siblings could sit with each other. I've seen the joy in the eyes of a traveler whose bag weighs exactly 49 pounds, 1 pound away from paying an extra $30. I've seen fights break out in airports, families trying to keep track of their children, and travelers running to the gate so that they don't miss their flight. I've seen the way flight attendants smile and greet each passenger and make small talk to create a more comfortable environment. I've seen people help fellow passengers receive their overhead carry-on bag from the bin when they weren't able to grab it themselves. Becoming more of an observer helps me get out of my own head. If you sit back and observe, you can really learn a lot about people and about yourself and the humanity of it all. I've grown in awe of how much there is to notice about my surroundings once I decide to put my worries to the side. Although it helped me focus on the present and understand that flying is just a part of life, I was still curious about something. I was still curious about fear. I know that I'm not the only one who gets a bit nervous while flying, so I began to wonder why it doesn't seem to visibly affect as many people as I'd think it would, and why it has become such a frequent and universal way to get places, even though half the population probably doesn't know how the airplane even stays in the air. Well, what I noticed and learned is that no matter the person, no matter the first-class traveler or the economy passenger, no matter age or profession, when you step onto the plane, it's an equal playing field. As a sense of control and experiences the same levels of uncertainty. What gets us on the plane is realizing that something in someone's life or in your own life is bigger than our fears. You could call it courage, but courage isn't the absence of fear. It's realizing that something is more important than the fear. I want to go play sports and see my family, understand art and love by exploring new places, and these things are abundantly more important to me than the nerves that I feel when I ride on a plane. And I know that everyone can say the same about the reason that they step on a plane. Overcoming the nerves has taken time, and I can't say I'm fully over them or will be anytime soon. But I've grown fonder of the fact that fear is just a natural motion of life and something that can bewilder your ability to live in the moment, observe what happened, rather than what could happen. By observing other travelers, I evaluate my own emotional reactions and consider the reason I'm getting on the plane in the first place. I recognize that that reason is larger than my fear. To the class of 2021, as we all encounter fearful moments in our future endeavors, may we remember to focus on the present rather than the what-ifs, and remember that courage is necessary in order to transform your limits into opportunities. You can really learn a lot about yourself and other people when you stop worrying about the future and start living in the moment. Lastly, I'd like to thank my mom and dad for being my biggest supporters, and my sister for not only being my sister, but my best friend, and for being by my side through everything. I'd like to leave you with this. Remember, no matter how bumpy the ride, there are always clear skies on the other side of the clouds. Thank you.
Since many of you have never even heard Kayla speak in school, I'm here to tell you a little bit about her before her speech. 1, she hates all breakfast foods except for bagels. 2, the first time we hung out, she fell into a puddle, soaked her clothes, and it was all because she thought the puddle was ice and she would probably be fine just walking across it. 3, she can't say the word bag correctly. 4, she constantly carries around those little flosser pick things and chews on them. And 5, she can't take a compliment ever. Kayla, despite the fact that you're probably the most standoffish person I've ever met, you are one of the most loving, kind, creative, and beautiful people I've ever known, and I'm so grateful that you chose me to be your best friend. I know it's sappy, but I love you so much it hurts, and I know wherever you'll end up, you'll bring your crazy fun energy with you. I love you. Your turn.
My sister is someone who always makes me laugh. She's always there for me when I need her and is a great sister to look up to. I'm really going to miss spending time with you and being able to see you at any time since you'll be away at college. I know you're going to do amazing things next year, and I know I'll miss you the most. Introducing my sister,
And my best friend,
Kayla Marie Polino.
Throughout my life, I've always been looking forward to the next thing happening. But at the same time, I've always also known myself to be afraid of the unknown or be afraid of something I haven't experienced yet. I'm sure a lot of people have this feeling as it's a pretty common thing, but I've realized within my life and through my life experiences that it's held me back and hidden me from various moments and opportunities. With this in mind, it's restrained me, but also motivated me in certain situations as well. As I was mentioning a few ideas for what I would write upon, a grandma she remembered of me from when I was little. She told me about one time my family had taken me to the zoo when I was probably around 2 years old. She told me how I was so scared and started crying and saying how I didn't want to go, all because of this fear factor of something I hadn't had any experience with before. And I found this interesting because now I've recognized myself letting the scarcity of the unknown trick me into thinking that I need to be afraid of something just because I don't know its outcome. The summer that I turned 16, I got to venture off to a trip to Italy. I'd been dreaming of going there ever since my grandpa would tell me stories about his father and our family's history there. I was so excited to see the historical cities enriched with beautiful landmarks, new people, and wonderful food. It was an incredible opportunity in front of me provided by my grandparents, and I could not have been more thrilled. But even though I was desperately awaiting the day we would leave, I was also held back quite a bit by anxiety and my emotions. I remember feeling overwhelmed with the fact that I would be adapting to a very different setting, and I was scared because I had never been out of the country before. I had flown countless of times before, and I was used to traveling with my grandparents. Yet at the same time, I was so ambushed with the what ifs, and I feared things that hadn't even happened yet. I knew that these things were internally flowing through my mind, but I wouldn't allow myself to recognize them in order to improve my thoughts and feelings. Upon arriving in Rome, I was running on 0 hours of sleep from a 10-hour flight that I had anxiously stayed awake through. I remember getting there and immediately reading signs in Italian and seeing people arriving from all different parts of the world. Then we eventually got into a tiny cab with an aggressively fast European driver, and I was trying to grasp everything I was seeing in this foreign city. There seemed to be so much going through my head and so many uncertainties about being somewhere so different that I wasn't able to fully be present in this new environment I was in. All throughout the trip, I was so worried about the next task at hand or the next place we'd travel off to that I wasn't able to immerse myself entirely in these moments because of my fear and constant thinking about the next thing. Of course, a lot of people go through something like this on their first trip to another country. But looking back, I realized that I took a lot of important moments and learning experiences for granted because of my own self holding me back and hesitating for what I didn't know. Something that has helped me in a way with these things is something I have a strong passion for, which is writing, and specifically on that trip, journaling. Ever since around middle school, I wanted to be a journalist of some kind, and before departing for this trip, my grandma gave me a small journal to write in each day that we were traveling. At the end of each day, I would write the key events that took place, and I filled the pages with my favorite moments and sights that I saw. This process let me decompress and slow down overall. I remember being able to just be in my element and be able to freely write about what made me happy and document the simplest memories from that day. As much as I was worried about the next morning, what would be the rest of the trip, when I got to write, it was a reminder that I was exactly where I needed to be in that moment and it let me recognize more of my emotions, good or bad, for the time being. Ever since then, I've taken more time to stop and think about things and really identify what is necessary to overthink and what isn't. I continue my passion for writing by writing poetry and letting myself present certain emotions through words and expressions on paper. I'd like to confidently say that I've definitely gotten better with this whole idea of fearing the unknown and letting inexperienced situations hold me back now. I've developed a pretty strong understanding of my emotions, even though they still may hold me back from time to time. But I'm working at enjoying more of what is presently offered to me at the moment and not letting other concerns get in the way. Reflecting back on some of these occurrences furthers my understanding about myself and what I'm capable of. It helps me improve my state of mind and gives me more confidence about my future and how I'll be able to have a more positive and beneficial experience in my life ahead. As I make the transition from being at one school for the past 14 years of my life and venturing off into a totally different location, I'll take these lessons and happenings that I've been through with me. College is a prime example of fearing and letting the unknown try and hold you back, but with my continuous and developing self-awareness, I'll be able to confidently begin my new chapter and persist growth along the way. Thank you.
Alrighty. Many of you guys may know Jack as a classmate. There's a few.
Congratulations, Jack. I can't believe you finally made it. Not only have you been my brother, but you've been my best friend since day one, and I can't wait to see what the next step of life has in store for you. Congrats, bro.
Hi, bud. Congrats on making it to your senior speech. I'm so sad that I can't be there today to watch it, but I know you're going to kill it, and I'm honestly just so thankful that we got the past year together before I moved away to just get so much closer, and I really loved seeing you mature so much and grow up. And I really just can't wait to see what there is in store for you as you go off to college and so much more. I love you so much, and I miss you more than anything.
Hi, Jack. Wow, congratulations. I am so incredibly impressed and proud of the person that you have become and that you've made it so successfully to this point in your life. I can't wait to see where you end up next and what you end up doing with your life, because I have no doubt that it will be an amazing chapter. Can't wait to support you along the way. Love you so much, Jack.
Alrighty, take two here. Let's go. All right. Many of you guys may know Jack as a classmate or friend, or even that guy that has been on the TVs around Breck sporting the title IMAC Athlete of the Month. Despite this rather impressive athletic career, the true origin of Jack's identity still remains largely unknown. What many of you guys do not know is that Jack is actually a superhero. After critical analysis from me and others curious to witness Jack's miraculous power, he then proceeded to prove to us that he was the Flash by using his super speed to run through a snowstorm, claiming that he was not touched by a single flake of snow. I don't think the rest of that story needs to necessarily be shared, but let's just say it did not go the way it was intended to go. And anyways, Jack, I've enjoyed these last 18 years doing pretty much everything with you. And I know that Minnesota will be lucky to have you in the future.
Jack is one of the smiliest and most energetic people I know. Even though he makes fun of me nonstop, I will forever keep bragging rights for taking dubs in Pig. Yeah, we look nothing alike, we have an unmatched sibling bond, and he will always be my best friend. We tell each other everything, and I can always count on him to be there for me when I need him most. He is not just a leader for me, but is a leader to so many, whether it's on the field, in the locker room, or anywhere in or outside of school. I'm still at a loss thinking of what I'm going to do next year as my last sibling is leaving, but I'm so lucky to have had such a special year with just you and me. Jack, I'm so proud of the person you've become, and I can't wait to see the amazing things you do in the future. I love you so much. Introducing my brother.
And the Flash himself,
John Gordon McKenna.
Coming off the left side, I knew that my one job was to tackle the running back that came to my side. Zoned in, I was going to make this tackle. While I approached the running back, the right tackle pushed me farther away to my left, away from the running back, but I got a handful of the running back's jersey. Relentless to let go, one of my teammates came and helped me take down the running back, but in the process, I partially tore my rotator cuff. I could barely lift my arm, but everyone around me put their blood, sweat, and tears into this season to get to this point, and I wasn't going to take myself out of the game because of my shoulder. This is what sports are all about, not only doing it for yourself, but doing it for the people around you. This was a section final game against Cannon Falls. We had only one loss on the season, and if we won this game, we were going to stay. I wasn't going to just give up. We had a whole second half to play. Things didn't go our way, and sadly, we lost the game 40-13. But even though we lost by 27 points, I proudly watched every single one of my teammates that I worked so hard with all season leave everything out on the field until the clock hit 0. I've played football and baseball my whole life, and honestly, I couldn't imagine my life without these sports. While I'm going to have to step away from them this year, they will always be a part of who I am because they've taught me so much. They've taught me so much about myself and have helped me get through a lot of hardship. A couple of things I know I'll take away from them, from football and baseball, is how to lead when things are tough and how to bounce back when things don't go your way. According to the National Federation of State High School Associations, studies have shown that participation in athletics have brought improvements in students' physical health, stress management, and academic benchmarks. It is also shown that high school sports have many long-lasting benefits, such as a stronger self-confidence in building relationships with other people, developing a better understanding of who you are as a person, and building foundations for lifelong fitness habits. And while the majority of people that go to Breck play sports, there seems to be a lack of focus on athletic excellence by the administration. Yes, academics matter and will take most of us farther in life than sports will. But sports have taught so many of us lessons, from learning how to lead to understanding that you have to work hard at anything if you want to succeed in it. And it's lessons like these that will never be taught in a classroom, but make us better and more successful humans. But regardless of what sports do for those who play, I still walk into the Breck weight room that can barely fit the varsity football team in it and lacks an immense amount of weights. Go into halftime knowing that I won't be able to warm up in a locker room, and practice on a baseball field that floods almost every time it rains and doesn't even have roofs for its dugouts. This, to me, is sad. Breck as a school has sadly decided to put the importance of sports way below academics. I've continued to watch the number of students that come to Breck for sports decline every year, and can't remember a time where a student, when I've been at Breck, has come to Breck for a sport like football or baseball. Through my 4 years in high school, I've seen great athletes leave Breck because of the lack of sports equipment and facilities that Breck has. When our sports teams get worse, students show less school spirit and don't come to as many games, hurting the athletes' confidence that are playing. This is my 14th year at Breck, and I love this place. Over the years, I've watched countless Breck sports teams, girls and boys, JV and varsity, give it their all, and I've cheered them on from the stands. I hope when I come back to Breck after I graduate that the sports department has received the support and the support from the administration that it deserves. I encourage every one of you listening to this speech that isn't already in a sport to join one, because while it might be hard, I guarantee you will become mentally and physically stronger and will be taught life lessons that will stick with you forever. I would like to thank my football and baseball teammates for always being there for me through the toughest of times and playing hard no matter the score of the game. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our speakers today. Before we end our time together, please give each other a physically distant sign of peace. Back at you. before I can even ask our speakers about opening and closing prayer, they said to me, Mr. Johnson, Irish blessing. So we are going to be saying an Irish blessing. The words are on the screen behind me if you need them. Let us pray. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Upper school students, you have 9 minutes to get to X Block, but before we go, let's give one more hand to our speakers.